Hi. What's going on? Melbourne's really turned on the weather for us today. It is freaking cold, and we're working on the Evo, which I'm very excited about. Let's continue on from last episode. What's going on, guys? Hope you're all having a wicked day. Welcome back to the videos where today we're playing more with the Evo 6 right behind me. This is my new Evo. I've had it for about a month, and as you guys can see, she is definitely, definitely not all intact. The Evo has been absolutely amazing, but I wanted to get this thing on flex fuel so I can run this thing up in the mountains and take it on some mad cruises. At the moment, however, we are having an issue where the car is just leaning out, and also we're very limited by the stock ECU. We're going to be installing a Haltech Elite ECU into, right here, my Evo 6. So to give you a quick little recap as to what we've already done to the Evo, as you guys can see, we've pulled apart a lot of the engine-based stuff, and we've got an all-new fuel system. So we have a Raceworks fuel filter, we have a Raceworks fuel rail, we have an FPR 800, and we also have, hiding down the back there, a Raceworks flex fuel sensor, which is going to allow us to run flex fuel on this Evo right here. I'm also going to be running some Haltech sensors around the entire car, so I have all of them right there. We have wired up all the sensors and the wideband as well for the Haltech, and that's all going straight into the driver's footwell. However, today we're going to be mating all that up with all of the new Haltech stuff that we have got thanks to Otaku Garage. If you guys want to get any Haltech stuff, I'll leave a link down below for Otaku. Massive thank you to Otaku Garage for helping out with the Evo build. This Haltech Elite is going to allow us to run the car on a full standalone, and we're going to be able to do potentially drive-by-wire in the future and all that really cool stuff. The Haltech Elite 1500 over the Elite 1000 is going to allow us to also do some multi-stage engine protection, and it also allows us to do drive-by-wire over the 1000. Not only that, but we also have a Haltech rotary switch that we're going to be putting in today. This is going to be something very new for me. I'm going to have to find a cool place to actually put all these stickers and make it look really sick. I'm thinking there's a place on the dash where I could put it, however I do have to drill into the dash. So I might just put it onto one of... I don't know. I might have to see how much the piece is and order a spare one and then drill into it, because I know that everything on this car right here is going to get dumb expensive soon, so yes. Not only that, but we also picked up a full patch loom for the Evo 6. I believe this patch loom here does everything from the Evo 4 to the Evo 8 or something like that. So yeah, that's everything for the Haltech. We're going to be installing that beauty there into the car today. However, I want to run you guys through some of the wiring before we get stuck into it, so that way I can catch you guys up to speed on everything that we've done. First of all, thank you very much to PT Motorsports for allowing us to use, once again, this beautiful can gauge. I've been running these can gauges in every single one of my cars. They have been absolutely flawless, and this right here is going to allow us to also use it as an I/O expander, so we can run 3 Haltech gauges basically off this. We have 4 individual outputs, which is perfect. So that's going to be talking to the ECU via the CAN network, and it's going to be displaying us lambda, boost, everything that we possibly want on this thing right here, and I am stoked. All those sensors are going to be run through this loom right here, which runs also alongside the wideband sensor. So if we jump into the car, quickly show you everything that we've done so far in previous episodes. So we have right here the CAN gauge wiring, and then we also have right here, this here is the wideband wiring. So we're going to be running a CAN hub down in the footwell down here somewhere, and talk to the ECU via one CAN cable that basically just runs between the length of here and there. Alright, so I got all the plugs out, and there's actually heaps and heaps of room to install the ECU basically up here. I was actually going to try and do something different and actually put the ECU in my glove box, but seeing how much room we have over here, it's going to be so easy. Basically all you can do to tune the car is to get the glove box. I can run, should have enough room to actually run the cable into the glove box as well, so everything should be super serviceable. So I have my 4 plugs down there, and the ECU actually has a mounting bolt down there, but the worst thing is it has 2 all the way at the top. So as far as what I can see in photos, a lot of people just leave the standard ECU in the car. And then, yeah, don't know. But I think that's what we're going to do today. We're just going to leave the ECU in the car. I do have a plan to strip back most of this car and do some painting and do some other cool stuff in the engine bay. So we will get to that at a later date. However, for now, trying to get this car as quickly to the snow as possible. I'm going to leave the stock ECU in there and just be able to play with all the rest of the room that's away in here. So I will put some foam down here, but Haltech's sitting nice and pretty in there, and I honestly think it's going to be a really good spot. There's a few things we have to do to the wiring harness before we do anything, so I'm going to quickly splice into the harness. We basically have to pull positive, negative, and then can high, can low, and adapt it to my little harness that I made over here for my last car. So yes, this basically just pulls positive, negative, and then can high, can low, and that's going to go to my extension loom, which is over here. So that's going to plug directly into this, and then this is going to go over to my driver's side, and that is going to power up basically all of my sensors, my can gauge, and the wideband as well. So that's sick. Pretty much that plugs into the front of the ECU, and then I just have to pull positive, negative. Super, super simple. The other two things we have to do today is also connect our IoT sensor. That's another thing we're gonna have to do. And also we're gonna have to connect our rotary switch. But first of all, I wanna figure out exactly where I wanna put this switch right here. So there's a few places on the dash that I could think about doing it. One of the places you guys can already see right there, I think it's definitely gonna be a mad spot, that little hole right there. I will have to trim the sticker ever so slightly, but I feel like that's gonna be a really nice little spot that's going to look almost OEM. I can change my tunes and do everything. So, and there's another place basically down here that I can pull back and then I can change it from there. So that's another option. We could drill into the back of this. I think for now I'm going to keep it hidden. Other option is I could put it in the glove box. Let's do the glove box. I feel like it's going to be the most hidden and it's going to be the easiest to get all the wiring down to the ECU. Yeah. Let's do that. I'm gonna figure this out. Well, it's certainly not my best work, I will admit. It's not straight, the sticker mainly. The actual knob's straight. I wonder if I can straighten up the sticker. Well, there you go, guys. That looks sick. So stoked. I did get it not straight the first time. However, this time here, I got it pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. Pretty happy. I managed to pull off the sticker a few times and redo it, but that's sick. So the idea about this is that I'll be able to change my boost levels depending on where I am, what I'm doing, if I'm at the track, if I'm trying to beat someone on the highway. You know the drill. Just test fitted it in the car, and unfortunately it hits on the air conditioning unit behind the dash. So either way, I'm going to change up the location and everyone's gonna be happy. I don't know where I'm gonna put it. I'll figure it out. All right, so second attempt back at this box right here. I now have none of that, so this is hopefully not gonna be too bad, but we'll see how we go. But yeah, this is just underneath the dash, and as you guys can see, there's a little pocket thing there which comes out and swings out. Yeah, you get me. But yeah, there's heaps of room behind it, so we're just gonna use this, and then I'm just gonna have to fiddle my hand down there, and at least it'll be nice and hidden anyway. So let's quickly do that. Go. So if anything, I actually kind of like it better. It's just going to be a bit of a pain to get my hand in, but this is going to be nice and hidden. And I managed to salvage that sticker again. So Haltech, good job on your stickers. I appreciate it. Another thing I did just the other day was I also put the IoT sensor into this. It's actually really thick plastic. I was a little bit stressed about putting the IoT sensor into plastic, but I think we're going to be changing this up in the future, so the IoT will have to do. The other thing is I also got a new Raceworks coupler for the throttle. This one was pretty dry rotted. It's looking pretty cracked and not so great. So decided to change that up. Brand new Raceworks one right there, and that's going to fit on perfectly. IoT sensor's all happy, and it's right in front of the throttle body, so that's going to give us the most accurate reading. And also, I could imagine the plastic won't get as hot as the alloy, so could also be a good thing because the sensor won't heat soak. Seems like it works in my head, but who knows. So thankfully, Haltech actually has a preset for the MAF sensor in the car. So if we have a quick look at the wiring for the MAF sensor right here, basically if we take a signal ground and a DPI, basically that is going to allow us to use two of these. So what I'm going to do, well, this actually here is like one of those coated things, so I'm going to make it look much nicer. But I can use these for other sensors, and two of these wires I can use for the IoT, which is literally just going to sit up behind here, so it's the perfect length. So stoked about that. I'm going to quickly cut two of these wires, and then yeah, can probably just hide the rest of them for now anyway. Alrighty guys, so I was just going to do some wiring. What I'm going to be doing is giving the CAN sensor and the wideband power from the same source, and then I have to give the rotary dial the 5 volt that switches basically. So it has a 5 volt source, a signal ground, and then a DPI source, variable voltage source. So I have to splice into the patch harness in two ways that allow me to do so. However, I didn't have any of the wiring stuff, but now, thank you to Raceworks, we have the entire lot all sorted. So I was going to actually order a whole bunch of DTM connectors, but this is a hugely beginner kit for Deutsch connectors, and it is absolutely incredible. I'm just nerding out over all this stuff because I've never been able to do such clean wiring in the past. And not only that, but they also included a crimping tool, Deutsch connector crimping tool, which is just insane. It made light work of the entire lot. So this right here is for my switch, and then this right here basically is going to allow me to power on from the harness. That goes into the front of the ECU, and then that goes out to my, that goes on to power my CAN gauge and my CAN high-low and my wideband. And then also this right here, I'm basically going to splice that into the patch harness, and that is going to give this right here power. So I've figured it all out. Instead of hardwiring everything like I have done in the past for all my cars, I have everything detachable, everything's going to look sweet. I'm stoked. Alright guys, so I just got finished making the patch loom. A little bit annoying, we had to steal like a 5 volt ground, a 5 volt power, and then a 12 volt power and a 12 volt ground, and then we also had to steal a couple of AVIs and SPIs. So yes, anyway, it's all done now, everything's all perfect. So although it doesn't look perfect, you guys can see we have one right here. This is for our rotary switch. Now this one here is powered by a 5 volt, it has a 5 volt ground, and then it has a analog voltage input. We have this one right here. This is a 12 volt for the flex fuel sensor, and then it comes back to an AVI, or no, sorry, this one here is going to an SPI, sorry. And then this one here is just a pure 12 volt. So that way I can power my gauge, and I can also power my wideband sensor. So that's all done there, and it's looking pretty good. To be honest, it's probably the best one that I've made so far, but once again, it's not perfect because I have to splice into that patch loom. I'd rather like make my own loom and then have to go out to all of them. So I'm learning, I'm getting there, slowly but surely. But yes, at least this time everything is able to be disconnected. My first FD, I hardwired everything basically into the car, and everything, if you wanted to take something out, it would have to be chopped out. So yeah, it's the nicest that I can get it at the moment with my skill level, so I'm pretty stoked about that. But yes, for now we're going to chuck this in the car. I have to get some wire for the switch, and I also have to get some wire for the flex fuel sensor, and as soon as I get those two there, we should be sorted. I'm really hoping I can get the flex fuel sensor sorted through the firewall, but there's not much room at all, so I might have to run the flex fuel sensor with the rest of the wiring down inside the guard, but that's okay. I just got to make sure I have enough wire to do so. In fact, I actually have to grab more wire and go through the firewall anyway, so I can get my fuel pump sorted as well, because the fuel pump's the next thing I have to tackle wiring related, but we're just getting a hardwire kit. So yes, stoked for that. Yeah, lots to do. Lots and lots and lots to do. Plus I have to get another doorstop for that. Alrighty, so down here, as you guys can see, we have all the wiring protruding for the can gauge. So I'm gonna quickly mount all that up and stick that down there too. So pretty stoked about this. I've decided I'm gonna keep the little fascia. I think it's kind of sick and yeah, perfectly suitable for my can gauge. So stoked with that. Alright guys, well as I suspected, I believe I may have run out of things to do with the Evo. It sucks, but I'm gonna stand still waiting for parts currently at the moment, so I don't have any wire. I could go down to JCar and go get wire, but I'm ordering it all from PT Motorsports, and he's currently moving factories at the moment, which is amazing for him. I have Raceworks finishing sending me out basically all of the plumbing for the fuel system, plus Raceworks are also helping out with the fuel pump wiring upgrade as well. So I've basically set everything out to the point where I can't do anything at the moment. Hope you guys have all been enjoying the Evo build. It is very, very, very quickly almost coming to an end. So yeah, as soon as we get this thing sorted, lots of driving videos and lots of stuff. I'm very, very keen. I hope you guys are all keen for it too, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.